Sounds good. All right, should we start? Okay, we are gonna go ahead and start our Success at ASU conference. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Choning Gonzalez. Thank you all for joining Success at ASU. In this particular session, we are going to go over some resources for J-1 exchange or visiting scholars. Next slide. And I'm Associate Director of the International Students and Scholars Center. Currently, my role is to overseeing the J-1 exchange visiting scholars, compliance matters, and provide any supporting services that are available for them. Due to COVID, our scholar number sort of dropped significantly, but we are still hoping that we can continue providing support to those who are still here in the US performing your program objective. And I'm going to turn to my colleague Alexandra to introduce himself.
Thanks, Chungning. Hi, everyone. So I also work at the ISSC with Chungning. I'm an international student advisor, but I do get involved with some programming of events and activities for the J-1 scholar community. So welcome, and we're happy to have you here today.
Great. So just briefly to go over agenda or schedules here, we're delighted to invite Kim Todd and Michael Martin from Arizona Tourist or Tempe Tourist Office to join us and share some resourceful information for all of you here. After their presentation, we'll go over some ESL opportunities, ASU resources, along with some community resources. Feel free to take away, Kim and Michael.
Okay, great. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. So as Chungning mentioned, my name is Kim Todd. I'm with the Arizona Office of Tourism, and we're a state agency tasked with promoting tourism to the state. And it's not just international or nationwide, but also to Arizonans that live here in the state. Surprisingly, you'll meet a lot of natives that grew up in Arizona that still haven't been to the Grand Canyon. So we're really tasked with promoting it, which is a fun, great job. And I'm here today just to kind of give you some highlights of some things that you can see and do throughout the state and hopefully inspire you. So when you have time and you want to go out and explore the state, you'll have some ideas. Obviously, COVID has affected the travel industry very significantly. And I just would, really encourage you. We have resources on our website at visitarizona.com. Please, visit the site, see what the regulations are. Also, a lot of places, have closed temporarily or permanently, or, you can't walk in, you have to make reservations beforehand. So we really encourage you, before you go out and explore, definitely do your research and make sure, you know what's happening, where you're going to go. And also Sky Harbor is a great resource as well, Sky Harbor International Airport. And just be responsible when you're recreating. I know a lot of people especially like to be outside now, just social distance and be aware of your surroundings and those around you. Some fun facts: the Grand Canyon is actually 100% in the state of Arizona. A lot of people don't know that. They think it's also in other states, but no, it's only in Arizona. So we have the nickname the Grand Canyon State. We have over 115 wineries throughout the state of Arizona. People are surprised. We actually have 3 wine growing regions that are producing some really great wines. We have over 50 craft breweries. So, if you like wine or craft breweries, we have lots of places for you to explore. We have almost 4,000 mountain peaks and summits, which people are really surprised. So we're a pretty mountainous state. The saguaro cactus, which you can see on the photo on the upper right, you probably have already seen one of those when you're out and about in the Tempe area, is actually the largest cactus in the United States. It can grow to be 5 stories high. So it's pretty interesting character. We have 4 UNESCO sites within the state of Arizona. We have Taliesin West in Scottsdale, which was the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright's winter home. We have Oregon Cactus National Monument, which is in the southern part of the state, and it's a biosphere reserve. We also have Grand Canyon National Park, and the city of Tucson was actually named the first US city of gastronomy. So that's pretty exciting. And we also have one of the most number of dark sky communities of any state within the US. So that includes cities like Sedona, Fountain Hills, parks, Grand Canyon National Park, Petrified Forest National Park. And that basically means in the nighttime, you could be there and see the stars with your naked eye. You don't need a telescope. So that's pretty fun stuff, especially if you're into stargazing. You might have noticed behind me, my background is actually Lake Powell in the northern part of the state. So beautiful night skies. When we talk about Arizona, we tend to break it into 5 different regions. And that's just because the state is so diverse. You're in Phoenix and it's the Sonoran Desert. The southern part of the state is Sonoran Desert. And then you go north and you're in Ponderosa Pine Forest and Sandstone Cliffs. And it's just really diverse. So that's kind of how we talk about it and, market it that way. And we tend to kind of put our tourism experiences in these 4 different pillars, which I think is quite nice. And it kind of sums up all the great offerings we have, such as culinary, the outdoor adventure. If you just want to be in wide open spaces and do road trips and not be around a bunch of people, it's super easy in the state. Culture, we have, the American Indians, we have the cowboy and the Western culture. So that's really something great to explore. And then just wellness, which, could mean, spa day with your friends or by yourself, or just getting out and enjoying the great outdoors and our great weather. As I mentioned, adventure is one of our pillars, and we have, over 85% of the state is actually public land, so it'll never be developed. We have 22 national parks and monuments. We have forests, state parks. So really a lot of land to get out and explore, whether you want to go biking or hiking, horseback riding, just a lot of different activities that you can enjoy outdoors. The northern part of the state has some really iconic scenery, and I will just briefly show you some pictures. Monument Valley, which is actually on the Navajo Indian Reservation, which unfortunately right now is closed due to COVID. But just be aware, because, when things start getting better, and opening up, this might be a place that you'd want to put on your list to visit. Page, which I mentioned is part of the background behind me there. Antelope Canyon is one of those really beautiful, iconic places, also on the Indian Reservation, so it is closed right now. Horseshoe Bend in the upper right-hand corner is actually at the Glen Canyon National Reserve, and that is open right now, so you could visit that. That's right outside of Page. And then, of course, the iconic Grand Canyon National Park. It's about 3.5-hour drive from Phoenix. So if you're thinking you could do it on a weekend, it would be a great weekend trip if you wanted to go see the Grand Canyon. And there's many ways to enjoy it. You can do bike rides along the rim. You can hike along the rim. You could do some hiking within the canyon. So lots of different ways to explore and enjoy the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon West is actually on the Hualapai Indian Reservation. So you can see there that glass skywalk is what they're quite famous for. And you can do day rafting trips at Grand Canyon West. It is not part of the national park, so that means it's not as deep, the canyon, or as wide, but it is still part of the Grand Canyon itself. And Williams in the northern part of the state, I just mentioned this because it's a cute small town. It's on Route 66, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. It's a great road trip. Arizona is a great family park. You can drive through and see a bunch of wildlife. You can also take the Grand Canyon Railroad if you want to ride the train from Williams to the Grand Canyon National Park South Rim. Flagstaff, which is the third largest city in Arizona. It's in the northern part of the state, and they actually get snow. I mean, this past weekend, a lot of us had snow throughout the state, but that's of course not typical. But Flagstaff has a ski resort, so a lot of people go there in the winter to go skiing. It's also great because it's higher elevation than Phoenix. So if you're a little bit hot in the summer in the desert, you can drive a couple hours north to Flagstaff and cool off in the summer. The north central part of the state, I just will highlight a few cities, but that's more of a high desert. So the vegetation is going to be a little bit different. You're going to have juniper trees, prickly pear, but you're not going to see the saguaro cactus. It's a little bit of a higher elevation. Sedona is famous for its red rocks and its mystical vortexes. It's a great hour-and-a-half drive. It's quick. It's great for a weekend getaway, go hiking, take a Jeep tour, just really enjoy the outdoors. Cottonwood is also in the Verde Valley area, and this is one of our wine regions. So they have a downtown area. It's maybe 4 or 5 blocks long, but it has 12 wine tasting rooms. So all within one area. They have great restaurants. It's just a really fun weekend getaway or a day trip. And next to that is Clarkdale, where you can catch the railroad. It's called the Verde Canyon Railroad, and take a railroad trip into the Verde Canyon, which is just really spectacular. Prescott is also in the northern part. And this is actually, they were just named the West's most western town by True West magazine. So it's an old West town. They have a downtown area called Whiskey Row. They have one of the oldest saloons in the western part of the US. They do an annual rodeo, the 4th of July rodeo. They also have a beautiful lake here that was pictured. It's called Watson Lake, and they have these beautiful boulder karsts. And it's a great place. You can go there on the weekends and rent a kayak and go kayaking. And that's only about an hour-and-a-half drive from Phoenix. And then you have Central Phoenix with over 22 municipalities in and around the valley. So you have a lot of opportunities very close to where you are in and around Tempe. Michael will talk about that in a minute, but Scottsdale in the northern part, Mesa to the east, you have a lot of different activities available. And Phoenix, which is actually the 5th largest city in the US with over a population of about 7 million, there's just a lot to do and see in and around Phoenix to get outdoors. We have great museums. Scottsdale, as I mentioned, in the northern part of the valley. There's Taliesin West, which I mentioned earlier is a UNESCO designated location. They have an old town, which has great shopping and just kind of fun restaurants and things to do in and around there. Also, the McDowell Mountain Preserve in the northern part of Scottsdale has great hiking trails. You can go biking on them as well. It's quite popular spot. And then Mesa on the eastern part of Phoenix has really beautiful outdoor recreation. The Salt River, you can go whitewater rafting, you can do kayaking. The Goldfield Ghost Town, if you like the old West towns, that's a fun place to go. They also have the Superstition Mountains, which is a state park out there, beautiful mountains. And it's really close driving from where you're at. And then the southern part of the state, Tucson, is the 2nd largest city in Arizona. And we have some really great old West towns in that area, which are kind of fun to point out. So as I mentioned before, Tucson is a UNESCO city of gastronomy. So they have great restaurants, a lot of Mexican influence because it is so close to Mexico. Great outdoor activities. They have several dude ranches. So if you like to ride horses and want to experience that Western culture, it's a great place to go visit. And then these are some highlights from Southern Arizona. On the upper left corner, you can see that's Tombstone, which is an old stagecoach, and that's an old Western town, quite famous. You might have heard of the gunfight at OK Corral. You can go there and see people actually dressed up in Western period costume, walking around the town and really experience kind of what the feel was like for a Western town at the turn of the century. And then in the middle at the bottom is Bisbee, which was an old mining town. And that's kind of a fun artsy town. Great, for a weekend trip. Kirchner Cavern State Park, it's a living cavern. You can do tours. They are open right now, but you do need to reserve ahead of time. And Southern Arizona is also known for wine country. So if you're into, want to go wine tasting, that's a great trip as well. And then the West Coast is actually the western part of the state, and we call it the West Coast because it borders California, and actually the Colorado River runs right down the border. So there's a lot of agriculture, obviously, in this part of the state, as well as outdoor water recreation. Lake Havasu actually has the London Bridge, which was bought from the city of London and moved here brick by brick. And they have a great lake with lots of activities. Yeah, so that about sums it up. Here's some resources. Obviously, we're on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So please follow us, and thank you. And I'll turn it over to Michael.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. Let's see. Now is it showing?
Yes.
Okay, great. Welcome everybody. My name is Michael Martin. I'm the Executive Vice President for the Tempe Tourism Office. As Kim mentioned before, some of us are actually natives of Arizona. I was born and raised here. Went to Arizona State University, Sun Devil graduate, I've worked in Tempe for the last almost 30 years now. Even my mom, who's going to be 91 next month, is a native of Arizona. So we do exist. We're not all just visitors here. We do, there are people that are born and raised and love living here. So welcome to our community. Tempe, of course, is the home of the main campus here at Arizona State University. And it is a city that's somewhat unique and different, I believe, than other cities. It's a smaller community based on land size and population. However, it is an important city in the state because of Arizona State University and our location in the central part of the Phoenix metropolitan area. Common themes or common ideas that you think of when you think of Tempe, or that people who live here believe in Tempe, are things like being diverse, active, youthful, accessible, energetic. We pride ourselves in being a very forward-thinking, more progressive community here in the state of Arizona. I think it's reflected in the way things are done here. HRC, Human Rights Index, provided us a perfect score of 100 points for the city's treatment of the LGBTQ community, for example. If you look at our city council, it is represented by African American, Hispanic, men, women, LGBTQ. So it is a very forward-thinking and diverse community, and we're very proud of that. And a big part of that, of course, is because of Arizona State University. In terms of Tempe as a destination, our office represents the hospitality community, which is made up of the hotels, dining, attractions, shopping, and so forth. In Tempe, we have 60 hotels and about 6,500 total guest rooms. So it's more than you might expect. So if you do have family and friends visiting you while you're here, then there are plenty of places for them to stay. We do pride ourselves on representing a lot of mom and pop restaurants, restaurants that represent global dining from Ethiopia to Mexico to India, Pakistan. Our attractions include major shopping like Arizona Mills and Tempe Marketplace, Legoland, Discovery Center, Sea Life Aquarium, Papago Park, which is a very large desert preserve in the middle of the city that is shared between Tempe, Phoenix, and Scottsdale. And within the park itself, you have amazing places like the Desert Botanical Garden, the Phoenix Zoo, which has an Arizona section, the Hall of Flame, Arizona Heritage Center. So there are many attractions within Papago Park. In this photo, you see Tempe Town Lake, which is probably our most signature location within the city. The lake itself provides an abundance of recreation, but also an opportunity for major events. So every year we host things like Rock and Roll Marathon, Ironman Arizona, and other triathlons. So it is a major destination for international events. I will say that right now, obviously, with COVID, there are a lot of changes that we try to stay on top of in terms of things that are open and closed. On our website, which is one of the main marketing pieces, marketing tools, you will find a blog section. We encourage people to use the blog as much as possible because on that page, we showcase restaurants that may be open or closed, doing takeout only or dine in. And we feature attractions that may be suspending their hours or changing hours. So on our website, on our blog section is where we are trying to communicate as much as possible the changes in our destination based on the COVID-19 restrictions. The Tempe does have a mask ordinance and the city takes it very, very seriously. The city of Tempe leadership is very concerned, of course, about the well-being of everybody. Residents and visitors, and of course our student population at ASU. So please use that website as a resource if you'd like to learn more about what is open and closed in our city. And I want to share our different social media and website with you. Our social media team and communications team does an amazing job of keeping people updated with things to do in the city, things that are safe to do. Right now, and they do an amazing job with their photography, video production, and so forth. Our website is tempetourism.com. Again, I encourage you to use it as a resource to learn more about what is happening in the city. And hopefully when things get back to normal and we are able to move beyond the pandemic, hope you continue to use this as a resource because we will continue to update it. And hopefully more and more businesses will reopen and we can get back to a brighter day. So that is all I have. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to us. Our offices in downtown Tempe, currently we're closed, but we will eventually reopen, but that's our phone number. If you need to reach out to us, please do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michael and Kim, for your presentation. I would like to take this opportunity to ask if anyone has questions for either Kim or Michael. Back to our normal time, we used to invite Arizona tourists and Tempe tourism to join our welcome events. We're hoping once COVID ends, we can go back to our normal welcome events, and we will be delighted to invite Arizona Office of Tourism and Tempe Tourism to come join and share the wonderful resources and travel information to all of us. Thank you so much once again, Kim and Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so next we are going to move on to our other resources. ESL Opportunities. Alexandra, feel free to take away.
Thank you, Chungning. Okay, so really quickly, we're just gonna go over some ESL opportunities that we have available to you, either offered through our office at the ISSC or through other departments or offices at ASU. One that we want to point out first is the Let's Chat series. So this is put on by our office, the ISSC. It's a fun and interactive weekly workshops and free ESL tutoring. It's actually a collaboration between us and Global Launch. And I encourage you to visit the website listed here for a full list of events and to RSVP. Just a quick synopsis, they kind of have different themes depending on the event. So there's communication workshops. If you look to the right, I have the next one that's available is rapid resume review. There's also some that talk about US culture. There's a watch and talk series where you get to look over a television, an episode of an American television series and kind of just break down the different English uses, etc. But yes, we encourage you to look through this if this seems like something you might want to participate in. We also offer coffee and conversation. This is put through our office as well. We encourage both American students and international students to come and gather and talk, usually building those cross-cultural connections. Again, if you want to look more into what what times they're being offered, we encourage you to visit our website. And for the moment, we are offering them virtually, but also in person. So I just encourage you to look at our website, and it's offered every first Friday of the month. The next one will take place on February 5th from 3 to 4 p.m. And again, to register, we have the links. We'll be sharing this presentation later, recorded in case you want to catch them. Whoops. So one other thing, in case you really just want to hone in on just practicing communication skills or improving your grammar, we encourage you to set up a consultation session using our online booking system. Again, it's 30 minutes, and you can focus on any specific language strategies you want to tackle, whether that's fluency support, pronunciation. If you have a presentation coming up and you just want someone to review that, we highly encourage you to book an appointment using our website. And to do that, all you have to do is just log into issc.asu.edu. And at the top right, you'll see a little highlighted button, make an appointment in maroon. Click on that, you can set up an appointment. And finally, one last thing to kind of touch base on regarding ESL opportunities is the English Corner Conversation Club. This is actually put on by a club organized through ASU students. They meet every Saturday of the semester from 10 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. Currently, it's offered through Zoom, but that might change given the pandemic situation. But yeah, they encourage international students and American students to come. And again, more opportunities to just kind of talk about English. This is a little more casual. And to learn more, we have the website here on the bottom as well. So moving along with our presentation, I'll now pass it back to Changning, where she'll talk a little more about ASU resources.
Sure. Thank you, Alessandro. So next, we are going to go over some ASU resources. The first one is Sun Devil Fitness Complex. As you can see, they're located in every campuses, Tempe, Downtown, Polytechnic, and West campuses. Feel free to visit fitness at asu.edu for a list of live stream classes and other virtual resources. And then for ASU Library, it's also locating all the locations. Our recommendation is check out their hours. Due to COVID, obviously there's exercise of social distancing, but online library has a lot of great resources for all of you. And next, it's about the Sun Devil campus stores. Once again, they're locating at each campuses. The stores will be enhancing or has been enhancing the cleaning and safety measures in place, require face covering, social distancing, and reduce capacity so we can you can be served as safety as possible. There's a website, bookstore at asu.edu for your reference. ASU Health Services is also another resources. They are staffed by physicians and nurse practitioners that are board certified in emergency medicines, family medicines. Any other conditions that you have, they are here to support you. But of course, if you come across any emergency conditions, you will have to call 911. There's a website listing there for your reference as well. ASU Counseling Services, they're fully committed to provide emotional or wellness support to ASU students, scholars, and community in general. They operate every day, 7 days a week. They do accept telehealth consultation as well, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. They do have some limit in-person consultation as needed as well. Again, feel free to visit their website, eoss.asu.edu/counseling. All right, so I'm going to turn back to Alessandra to talk about community resources.
Thanks, Chungming. So to wrap up our presentation, we'll just go over a couple other resources that you might be thinking about while you stay here in the US. For any of you who have children, just know that there are childcare services available in the Phoenix area. Some that we recommend are Bright Horizons Family Center at ASU Research Park. It's located in Tempe, and it serves as a daycare, preschool, and a kindergarten prep. For more information, we definitely encourage you to visit their website. If you're just looking to kind of find a babysitter or a nanny, someone to take care of the kids, we also encourage the following websites. Regarding public schools, if you have children who need to be going to school, we encourage you to just go to this website to kind of see which one you're zoned for or which one's closest for you just based on your living address. And generally, to enroll your child in a public school, you'll just need to provide some documentation proving the child's age. Usually most people provide a birth certificate or a passport, whichever one's more convenient for you. And then some document proving your residence address. And again, this is just because schools are based on a zoning situation here in the US. Utility bill or bank statement, whatever has your home address, that should be enough. In terms of transportation, I don't know how many of you are planning on kind of, I don't know, commuting large distances in the area, but there's a lot of options. For on-campus information, again, there's info regarding bike transit services, public transit, campus shuttles, which are still being run even during the pandemic, and car rental options. There's also parking on campus. That's an option. It's a little bit on the pricier side, but you know, that's really what you're going for. That's an option too. In regards to air travel, you know, you can visit the website for our official airport just to kind of see, you know, if there's any commuting options available to drop you off at the airport. And I'm sure you're familiar with many of these already, but for car sharing services, in case you don't have a vehicle, you can always, we recommend, you know, Uber, Lyft, Zipcar, and Enterprise Car for renting vehicles if you want to make the casual trip to the Grand Canyon, kind of like what Kim mentioned earlier. If you're ambitious and you know, looking to drive while you're here, we also encourage you to apply for a driver's license. Right now, Arizona law states that international driver's license do not satisfy Arizona's requirements, so you will be required to get an Arizona driver's license. If you would like to obtain a license, we have the instructions listed below. Generally, you fill out an application online. They'll tell you what identification requirements you need, usually what documents are needed to prove who you are. And then you would visit a local MVD office to finish the process and submit your paperwork. You can find nearest locations using this website as well. And finally, should any of you want to set up a bank account while you're here, banking services, here we have some information. Usually a bank account is needed to conduct most business transactions in the US. Again, many of you might have already, or some of you might have already set this up, but if not, we offer some advice. Common types of bank accounts are checking accounts. These are useful to have for bills to pay on a regular basis. So again, utilities, credit card, phone, rent, etc. There usually is no minimum balance required, but just keep in mind that some checking accounts can also earn interest, but usually require an opening balance, and a monthly fee may be charged. Savings account earns interest, but you cannot use to write checks. Again, only use if you need to. And to the right, we offer a couple of banks that are common here in the Phoenix area that you could go ahead and register for. All the websites are here. And that's about it. One other thing we wanted to point out is that we wanted you to save the date. Later on in the semester, Friday, March 12th from 4 to 5 p.m., we are planning on having our first event, let alone a virtual event for the semester for J-1 scholars, students, and their dependents and families. Please be on the lookout for an email with more information and details coming soon. And with that, welcome to ASU, and we'll open it up for any questions for the remaining minutes. Feel free to type a question in the chat or unmute yourself or raise your hand if you have a question. Mm. Yuezhong, I noticed you had a question posed earlier. Was this in regards to the Arizona tourism presentation or at ASU in general?
Tourism.
Oh, okay, no worries. We can try.
Never
and
mind.
pop that
I don't think they saw them. It's okay.
in. It's all good. All right. Well, if, again, any future questions come up, feel free to email our office using the email below. And yeah, thank you for attending. We've listed the events that are coming up in the next session for your convenience, but thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much.